Hi. So today's topic for editorial discussion is with regards to Ayushman Bharat, Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana. So the title of this article is that of 5 years of Ayushman Bharat, a shield for the vulnerable. So this particular article is not from the Hindu, but it is from the Indian Express opinion section. So recently the Ayushman Bharat scheme, the scheme that tries to provide universal health care or universal health coverage in India has aged 5 years, just become 5 years since this particular scheme was introduced. So that is the context in which this particular article was in use. So what is this Ayushman Bharat? Before getting into the concept of Ayushman Bharat, we'll see a little info about the healthcare status in India. So healthcare status in India is marked by a lot of challenges. When it comes to the core issues, there are 3 core issues that has to be addressed in the healthcare sector of India. The first issue is that of affordability and accessibility. Yes, affordability, we all know that most people, a common man in India is not able to afford the healthcare expenses that come in his way, in the healthcare field. And accessibility is that a lot of people, especially in the rural areas, they don't have adequate facilities to access healthcare services. Even yes, there are provisions that primary healthcare sectors must be very close to residential spaces and all these things, but such things, there are implementation gaps when it comes to such schemes and all. And even today, when you go to a lot of villages, you witness that in order to go meet a primary healthcare provider, you have to travel at least 5 to 6 kilometers to get primary attention, not secondary or tertiary. We're talking about primary attention itself takes around 5 to 6 kilometers, and for secondary and tertiary, you have to go to a very big town or at least a city to get secondary and tertiary healthcare. So that is the first major issue: accessibility and affordability of healthcare in India. The second major issue is that the quality is lacking. The lack of quality when it comes to healthcare. So yes, there are a lot of issues. The bed ratio is not optimal. The bed patient ratio, that is the doctor patient ratio, the nurse patient ratio, all these things, it is not optimal what we need, or we don't have what the WHO standards is set for. Yes, there are a lot of doctors coming out of graduates coming out of institutions in India, but what happens is that they are being drained in the sense brain drain is happening, and people move out to other countries in search of various economic avenues, and all these things happen. So yes, this is the second major issue when it comes to the healthcare sector, that is the lack of quality professionals and players who play in the healthcare field. Third major issue is that commercialization of healthcare. Commercialization of healthcare in the sense, yes, it has been seen as a business. In the earlier periods and all, it was seen as a service. Not talking about the recent, but in the past, it was seen as a service. Healthcare was seen as a service, and doctors, they were worshipped as gods. Worshipped as gods in the sense they had the power to give life and take life. Right? Take life. They don't have the power, but they have the power to save lives. All these things were happening. But fast forward to today's arena, today's settings, what is happening is that a lot of commercialization of healthcare has happened. Everywhere you go, the cost is high. If you want quality healthcare, we have to pay the amount. You have to pay what the amount they say. And there are a lot of other ethical issues also when it comes to commercialization of healthcare. These are the 3 major core issues that the healthcare sector faces. And in order to address such issues of affordability and the commercialization of healthcare and all, our government has brought a scheme called as the Ayushman Bharat Jan Arogya Yojana. So that is what we will be discussing now. So yes, Ayushman Bharat, it works on 2 levels. The first level is that provision of health and wellness centers, healthcare and wellness centers, in the sense they provide a lot of care centers like pregnancy care, infant care centers and dental care centers, gastric care centers, mental health institutions, and all these institutions are provided. So these are health and wellness camps that wellness centers that try to inculcate the concept of basic health care. Yes, that is the first level on which the Ayushman Bharat works. The next thing is the National Health Protection Scheme. Now, when we talk about Ayushman Bharat, we used to talk about the second component, that is the National Health Protection Scheme only. So what the scheme does is that it is like a credit card for a family for a year. So what this credit card does is that it gives 5 lakhs rupees per family per year to spend on secondary and tertiary treatment. Yes, we see primary healthcare, secondary healthcare, and tertiary healthcare, and all these terms. What are these primary, secondary, and tertiary healthcare? So, primary healthcare is the basic healthcare that a person receives. If you get sick, you go see a doctor. He will not be a specialist, but he will be a graduate from MBBS. So, that is primary healthcare. If you get a cold or if you get flu, get fever, and all these things, you go see a primary healthcare provider. And yes, the secondary healthcare provider, you go see a specialist. It may be in gynecologist, it may be a oncologist, it may be in bone specialist or a cardiologist. And all these specialists are there, right? So this is what secondary healthcare means. And the third is the tertiary healthcare. Tertiary healthcare is specialized institutional care. Specialized institutional care in the sense hospitalization. Specialized hospital facilities will be provided. So these are the three areas of healthcare. So what this scheme does is that it tries to give almost all secondary healthcare and most of the tertiary healthcare to the people receiving such aid. So yes, that is what it gives. And the other thing is that it also covers pre and post hospitalization expenses. 3 days before hospitalization and 15 days after hospitalization, all these expenses are covered under the scheme of rupees 5 lakhs per family per year. And it is also portable. It is also portable in the sense it can be used in this state and can also be taken to another state also. It is portable throughout the country of India where these schemes are being implemented. So this is one thing, and lot of allowances are also given. For example, transport allowance is given. And all these things are given. So this is what this national health protection, the second pillar of Ayushman Bharat is. And yes, how does the funding mechanism go? So this particularly, the Ayushman Bharat scheme or the Ayushman AB PMJ is nothing but a centrally sponsored scheme. Centrally sponsored scheme is that central gives some sort of funds and states also contribute some sort of funds. So this is what the funding mechanism will be like. So first, when it comes to states and union territories with legislatures, they share the amount as 60 and 40. Central will give 60 and states and union territories with legislatures will give 40. And the next is that of 90 and 10, 90 given by center and 10 by states, that is northeastern states, Jammu and Kashmir, Uttarakhand, and this thing called as Himachal Pradesh. Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Jammu and Kashmir, and northeast states, they share this funding pattern of 90:10, and 100% total funding is given by the center when it comes to union territories without legislature. So this is what the funding pattern is. And what this scheme tries to do is that it currently tries to cover 40% of the poor people. 40% of poor people, it tries to give 5 lakhs per family per annum for healthcare expenses, especially in the secondary and tertiary care expenses, because these are most costly. When comparing to primary, secondary and tertiary are a bit costly. That is why it covers secondary and primary treatment here. So we'll see what are the benefits of the Ayushman Bharat scheme. The first benefit of Ayushman Bharat scheme is that SDG achievement. SDG, in the sense, we all know that there is this 17 goals of sustainable development. There is 17 goals of sustainable development. That is what we call as SDG, sustainable development goals. So what this scheme is that it helps us achieve this SDG goal of 3.3, that is universal healthcare coverage. So yes, every country, it will be better if every country gives universal healthcare coverage to its citizens. That is also a sustainable goal. Goal number 3. Yes, that is what this particular scheme helps us achieve. A sustainable development goal to attain universal health coverage for all citizens. The next benefit is reducing OOPE. What is OOPE? Is nothing but out of pocket expenditure. Out of pocket expenditure is that I pay out of my pocket. I pay out of my pocket, right? That is what out of pocket expenditure is. And when it comes to in India, out of pocket expenditure is high. Even if you go to government, there are exceptions. When you go to the private sector, the thing is, out of pocket expenditure is completely, you have to make out of pocket expenditure. So this cannot be borne by the brunt. This brunt cannot be borne by a lot of poor people. So that is why this scheme is playing a very big role in reducing out of pocket expenditure. That is, it is giving rupees 5 lakhs per annum per family, so that the out of pocket expenditure of that particular family will be reduced. So yes, it is also reducing the out of pocket expenditure of people. And next is the commercialization of healthcare. Commercialization of healthcare, we saw already, is a very big issue. It is one of the core issues that affect the healthcare sector in India, that people are not able to pay for the healthcare services, and this is what the scheme was orchestrated to do. This is what the scheme was built to do itself, to reduce the commercialization of healthcare. So yes, these are the major benefits that accrue from the Ayushman Bharat scheme. But yes, roses comes with thorns, right? There are also certain challenges when it comes to this particular scheme. One of the major challenges is that of state cooperation. So state cooperation is that we already saw it as a centrally sponsored scheme, and in some states 60 to 40%, 60 and 40% is the division criteria. 60% is given by the center and 40% is given by the state. But a lot of other states, they feel that this 40% they cannot afford. There are states that they feel that cannot afford, and sometimes this particular scheme it also contradicts or it also comes in conflict with state insurance schemes. So a particular state will already be implementing a particular insurance scheme for its citizens, yes, for its subjects. The thing is, such Ayushman Bharat scheme, it comes in conflict with such schemes implemented by the state legislatures also, or state governments also. So there is this issue of state cooperation. A lot of other states have not yet implemented this particular scheme. For example, earlier Delhi and Telangana did not implement, but later they did. But on a more recent level, West Bengal and Odisha, they have not implemented this Ayushman Bharat scheme. All these things happen. So that is one big issue, the lack of state cooperation. The next is the burden on exchequer. You all know 5 lakh per family per year. A lot of families tries to cover 40% of the population, right? That to the lower 40% of the population. Yes, when it comes to the low 40% of the population, this will draw a very big hole on the exchequer. A very big hole on the burden of cost will be very high on the central government. So yes, it's a very good scheme only. The scheme is in need, but it will also lead to a hole in the exchequer. So that is another challenge there. And next is the poor health capacity. Poor health capacity, we all saw it. Poor health capacity, the quality of healthcare is not very great when it comes to in India because of all these brain drain, commercialization of healthcare and all these things. So this also does is that it does not try to improve the facilities in the healthcare, but it tries to give money to the people to use the substandard healthcare that is already prevalent in India. So that is what critics say. The present system is already substandard. You are not trying to improve the standard of this healthcare, but you are just providing incentive to the people to access this substandard healthcare. So that is what a lot of critics say about this particular scheme. The next thing is next issue is that of illegal registrations. Illegal registration recently like yesterday, a report was submitted by the CAG. Regarding the Ayushman Bharat scheme, and a lot of people were illegally registered in this particular scheme. Illegally registered in the sense around 7.5 lakh people or 7.5 lakh people, they were registered in a particular number. They were registered in a particular invalid number. That is 10 nines. 10 and 9, 10 nines in that particular number. 7.5 lakh people were registered in a particular number with different names and different data and all. So mobile number is very important to access data of the beneficiary, but there are a lot of illegal registrations also. This has to be addressed. So these are the major issues or challenges that mar this particular scheme of providing universal health coverage to the citizens of India. Thank you.